I'm Blair Best, and tonight on The Story, we begin in Southwest Portland, right across the street from the Central Library. It was right here on this sidewalk that a man was shot and killed earlier this week. The community now on high alert. Police are walking the streets and the library is closed. What surrounding businesses are now asking of the county. It's our big story tonight.
Where's the ambulance?
Video shows the dramatic scene around 3:30 Tuesday afternoon.
It seemed like an eternity that this man was bleeding out on the corner.
A man was shot on the corner of Southwest 10th Avenue and Yamhill Street. Bystanders tried saving his life as they waited for emergency crews to arrive.
There was actually a bunch of people holding his wounds, like on the ground.
The man later died at the hospital. The 26-year-old suspect, Hassan Muse, was arrested after a short chase. Here he is in court Wednesday.
And it was honestly a mass trauma event.
Patrick lives a block away.
It was a dream come true when I first moved downtown, but it's quickly become a nightmare.
This type of violence is nothing new for the area.
This neighborhood has gone down the drain.
Just take it from Ali Sharifi.
It was scary to hear the gunshot. I've seen them. There has been numerous occasions where there have been incidents up to gun.
Ali has run this rug gallery in downtown Portland for 29 years. His latest location, across from the Central Library, a spot that quickly became victim to the side effects of drug use and violence, he says.
If you notice, the front door, the window has been broken. Other windows have been broken more than 7 times. But what I'm mostly concerned about is my safety here and my clients who call me before they come in here to make sure there is no such activities.
He and other business owners now backing this letter, soon to be sent to Multnomah County commissioners, calling for things like a zero-tolerance policy on drug use and monthly reports outlining what county leaders are doing about community concerns. The letter also states there were reports of 2 armed people inside the library leading up to Tuesday's deadly shooting.
Clean up. All I'm asking is to clean up.
On social media, Multnomah County Commissioner Julia Brim Edwards condemned the shooting, saying in part, "We can't accept this as the new normal. The shooting outside our Central Library is tragic and terrifying. I've already connected with public safety leaders, and I'm committed to working with city and county colleagues to take action. We have to do better." On Thursday, we watched Portland police officers patrol the neighborhood on foot, checking in with businesses after they learned some closed over concerns about the shooting. The county's Central Library also remains closed. Gates blocked the doors. In a statement, county library officials said in part, the library and Multnomah County partners are working to provide trauma-related services and support to Central Library staff who witnessed or are affected by this event and its aftermath. The library and Multnomah County are also using this time to conduct a comprehensive review of their extensive security protocols and emergency response procedures to ensure the library maintains the highest standards of safety.
The library is the heart of the city in a way, and I think that it shows that they care and they want the best for the people of Portland.
The library closes, that means it's serious enough.
As this pocket of Southwest Portland fights to hold out hope.
And I don't understand how the central part of the Central Park blocks has gone to the dogs. It's literally dangerous to walk around the streets.
Yes, I'm afraid. I'm scared. I don't know what next is going to happen.
So the suspect, Hassan Muse, is set to be arraigned next week, July 11th. Now, this shooting is among the latest dangerous events that play out not only around the Central Library, but inside the library, too. In May, we reported on a CDC study from last summer that talked with 95 Multnomah County library workers at 3 libraries, including Central. The report revealed that while on the job, over 1/3 of library staff reported being exposed to drugs, mainly fentanyl. Some said it happened daily, and most workers said they were likely to experience workplace violence stemming from drug use happening in the library. If you want to read more on all of that, head to our website, kgw.com. In the meantime, The Central Library is expected to reopen this Saturday, July 5th. All county libraries are closed tomorrow for the holiday. But first, we want to hear from you. Do you often go to the Central Library? Have you noticed things getting worse, getting better? Or maybe you just avoid the area altogether? Well, let us know what you're thinking. Email the story at kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail, 503-226-5090. Well, over a dozen states, including Oregon and Washington, are suing the Trump administration for what they call an illegal transfer of personal health information to ICE. A certain amount of personal data related to Medicaid is routinely shared between states and the Federal Health and Human Services Department, or HHS. But last month, the Associated Press found HHS turned over that personal information to the Department of Homeland Security, which houses ICE, and they did that without telling the states. That included California, Illinois, Washington State, and Washington, D.C., all of which are led by Democrats. Now, according to the Lund report, the feds gave Oregon a deadline of July 30th to share its own data from Medicaid-funded Oregon Health Plan. The state has not yet responded. The Trump administration says it wants the data to verify that those receiving Medicaid benefits actually qualify for them, adding they are only for, quote, law-abiding Americans. It is illegal to use federal dollars to pay for Medicaid for undocumented immigrants. But Oregon and Washington are among states that say they use only state dollars to provide free health benefits to low-income non-citizens. And as we've previously reported, the feds don't buy that, which is why they want this information. In court documents, the attorneys general argue that transfer of Medicaid to ICE violates federal law, writing in a statement, quote, federal law, policy, and practice has been clear. The personal health care data collected about beneficiaries of the program is confidential, to be shared only in certain narrow circumstances that benefit public health and the integrity of the Medicaid program itself. Washington AG Nick Brown writing, their data should not go towards creating a giant database of Americans' personal information or used so that ICE can deport undocumented immigrants because they had to go to the doctor. The lawsuit asks the court to block any new transfer or use of the data for immigration enforcement purposes. We'll keep you posted. Well, speaking of Medicaid, you've likely heard that the president's so-called big, beautiful bill passed the House of Representatives this morning. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson signing the bill, sending it to President Trump's desk, who is expected to sign it into law tomorrow afternoon. The legislation received 0 votes from Democrats in both the House and the Senate. So, as you might imagine, news of its passage in the House today did not go over well. Washington Senator Maria Cantwell wrote, this law is the largest cut to Medicaid in history, which will raise costs for everyone's health insurance. The GOP stuck to their cruel plan to kick 17 million Americans off of their health insurance and take SNAP benefits away from millions of families, all so that billionaires and corporations could get another tax cut. Even the Oregon Nurses Association sent out a statement saying, the bill will gut the Oregon Health Plan, our state's Medicaid program, putting as many as 280,000 Oregonians at risk of losing coverage. It adds punishing a new bureaucratic barriers designed to kick people off Medicaid, do not help them thrive. Democratic Oregon leaders gathered yesterday before the bill passed to the House to talk about the impacts here in Oregon, striking a similar tone.
There's no way to cut this much Medicaid without kicking working people off their insurance.
This is a 5-alarm fire, and we're here to tell you that this is devastating for the state of Oregon. So let's remember, every single year, Oregonians pay their federal taxes, and those dollars come back to our state through vital services like healthcare and food assistance and other programs. That's how the system has worked for decades. That's how it should work. The Trump administration and Republicans in Congress have broken and will break and are breaking that system. The Senate version of the bill that's being in front of the House right now, we thought the House bill was bad. The Senate version is worse. Just the provider assessment cuts alone would result in more than $10 billion leaving Oregon and our hospitals and our doctors and our nurses over 10 years for the Oregon Health Plan, our Medicaid program. For SNAP, according to our preliminary analysis, if and when the bill is fully implemented, the Trump administration and congressional Republicans will have cut over $425 million per year from food assistance in our state. And Oregon doesn't have the money to backfill that loss.
Okay, well, despite the intense criticism from state leaders like Governor Tina Kotek and fellow members of Congress, here's what House Speaker Mike Johnson had to say about the bill's upcoming impacts.
Look, I think a lot of the estimations about what this legislation would do in a negative manner to communities in my state or any other are far overblown. I can tell you that this bill is going to be a great thing for everybody around the country, my constituents especially. What's good for Louisiana is good for America.
Now, Oregon's lone Republican in Congress, Representative Cliff Bentz, voted yes on the bill today. His office told us yesterday they would not comment until after the vote. Today at 1 o'clock, following the vote, they told us, quote, "Once we have a comment, we will send it out." As of this moment tonight, we are still waiting. Well, let's get to some of your reaction to our big story last night, looking at a new study out of Cornell University with new analysis of Portland's first experience with ranked choice voting, specifically the city council races, where 3 candidates were selected from each district. The researchers found that the type of ranked choice voting in those races, single transferable vote, worked, quote, strikingly well on its promise of better proportionality. But even with that conclusion, many of you were not swayed. Cheryl wrote, "I hate it. Electing candidates with only 25% of the vote is deeply undemocratic."
I think ranked choice voting is a bunch of hooey, and you don't really get the true meaning of the candidates that you wanted to win if that candidate has to be stuck on to somebody else's tail. It's a bunch of hooey.
A viewer on YouTube wrote, "Kind of hard to say it's working well when it was dumped on everyone. I voted the same way. If a slate or individuals were on the ballot, I'd still vote for individuals." Well, on the flip side, people like Anne wrote, "Love it. I liked voting that way, and it created no problems at the elections office where I am a temp worker." Elaine chimed in saying it was reassuring to see how votes were redistributed to similar candidates. The District 1 finding makes sense. Many residents hadn't bothered to vote previously because they were not represented in most councils anyhow. Frankly, the only reason I voted to change to a large 4-district system was so that folks like District 1 could get representation. And a YouTube comment read, "I love RCV. I'm just ticked off that the entire state didn't agree to it." Now, that comment there was referring to Measure 117 from the November election. It would have adopted ranked choice voting statewide, but the measure failed, with nearly 58% of statewide voters saying no thanks. In fact, the yes votes on 117 only prevailed in 3 of Oregon's 36 counties. Voters in Multnomah, Hood River, and Benton counties favored ranked choice voting, but those votes were far from enough to pass it statewide. And a reminder for our Multnomah County residents, in November of next year, you will use ranked choice voting to elect the next county chair, county commissioners, auditor, and the sheriff. Well, now to a live look outside on this Thursday evening. We're going to bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino after the break. First, to give us the most up-to-date forecast for your 4th of July weekend. And he also has a bit of a deep dive for you on a completely unrelated topic. That's next when the story returns. Well, Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino joins us now. Matt, we really couldn't have asked for better weather for this 4th of July weekend.
Well, so much better than last year's 4th of July. Remember, we had record high temperatures up around triple digits. Not the case this year, even a little bit below average, which is amazing, right? Are you going to watch fireworks tomorrow night, Blair?
I'm still figuring out my plans, if I'm being honest with you.
I
would love to watch the fireworks,
I'm
yes.
sure you'll come up with a good plan. But the forecast for the fireworks looks fantastic. I mean, it's going to clear out. We'll have some clouds earlier in the day, but look at these temperatures. 8 o'clock, 71, 9 o'clock, 68. Most of the fireworks in Portland go off around 9:30 or so, waiting for it to get dark. Sunset's like 9:03 tomorrow. So between the 9 and 10 o'clock hours, we'll be in the mid to upper 60s. I mean, just fantastic. As I mentioned, there'll be some clouds around tomorrow, especially early in the day, but then they clear out. We'll be mostly sunny on Saturday and Sunday, into the 80s by Sunday, and a little bit of a warm up next Monday and Tuesday, but nothing like what we had last week. So we're doing a lot better compared to this year. Want to talk about hurricanes?
Please, yes. He wants to tell us something about hurricanes. Go for it.
So this came up the other day, and it was interesting. It's like, why don't we get hurricanes here on the West Coast? Well, there was one just recently. In fact, this is the current imagery of Flossie. Hurricane Flossie used to be a hurricane, right? Great name, right? I love the list of hurricane names. I was working on that, didn't quite finish it, but I'll do that in another show for you because they're always, and by the way, there's no Hurricane Blair this year.
Okay, fine. I'll let it slide.
All right. I mean, there should be.
I agree.
There was a Barbara. That was the B name. There's no Hurricane Matthew either. There was a couple years ago on the east coast of Florida back in 2016. But this is all that's left of Flossie. It was at one time yesterday a major hurricane. So what happened? So let's look at what happens with hurricanes off the coast of Mexico, which is related to why we don't get them. This is the path of Flossie historically, going back 8 days, started as a tropical disturbance off the coast of Costa Rica, made its way north, finally became a hurricane somewhere south of Puerto Vallarta offshore here, right? Then yesterday it becomes a major hurricane, a category 3, and then after that it quickly fizzles 2, 1, and now it is a post-tropical depression. So why is that? Well, for the answer, we look at the sea surface temperature. See where it's all dark red here? This is where all the really warm water is, like bathtub water. 80, 85, even 90-degree water in some cases off the coast of southern Mexico and down towards Costa Rica and Panama, right? So let's zoom in on this a bit, and you can see what happens. You get all this really warm water by Zihuatanejo, down Puerto Escondido, and even up to Puerto Vallarta. But as you start getting up towards Baja, notice the colors cool into the 70s and even 60s off the coast of Baja. Hurricanes just can't survive with that cooler water. So here are the ingredients that you need for a tropical storm. Really warm water above 80 degrees. Tropical systems, hurricanes, and tropical cyclones are different from our mid-latitude winter storms that we get. These are warm core storms, so they need that warm water. That in turn evaporates, put a lot of heat and a lot of moisture in the air. That all converges upwards as long as the upper level winds are all coming from the same direction, meaning there's no wind shear to tear the storm apart. Get all this moisture and you get some circulation, and that's how tropical storms form. So once you get up around the coast of Oregon, or as I said, even the coast of Baja, the ocean is simply too cold to support tropical storms and hurricanes. We have had remnants impact parts of the West Coast, Blair, like Southern California. Every now and then, San Diego or LA will get the remnants of a tropical storm. I think Southern California even has only been hit by an actual tropical storm, as it's still a tropical storm, a couple of times. We've had remnant moisture move north into Oregon from tropical systems and give us rain, but never the tropical system itself.
Okay, Matt, thanks so much.
You bet.
We're back right after this. We'll end tonight with something a bit lighter as we head into the holiday. You've probably heard the phrase, a cut above the rest. But on a street corner in Boise, Idaho, that's not just a saying. It's a sound, a rhythm, a ritual. Hunter Funk brings us a story showcasing the fact that even with the sharpest tools comes a softer side.
A lot of prepping.
In the kitchen of the Basque Market.
We have to do over 68 gallons of onions.
Precision is everything.
Bell peppers, chitty show, which all of that we cut by hand.
And each also knows a dull blade,
Sharper the knife, the faster it goes.
can cut more than time.
Duller, it's more like you're gonna cut yourself and it just takes forever. So it's very nice to have sharp knives.
Right.
So once a month, like clockwork.
You just walk outside and you're like, what is he doing? Just out of the back of his Jeep.
A man named Bill.
I'm a sharp guy, you know? Yeah, okay, I know, that's a bad joke.
Parks at a meter, grabs his tools.
You know, I can sit here and go to sleep and do this.
And brings his stories.
Go say hi to him.
You know what the electric slicers are that they use for slicing like in delis and stuff?
He'll tell you a great story about like cutting his thumb on a meat slicer.
Before you check the edge on one, turn it off. Don't stick your thumb on it when it's running.
Something like that.
So about 3 hours later, and I think 4 stitches later, I was back out sharpening knives. Yeah.
Just a few lessons from the School of Hard Knocks, given how long he's been doing this.
Well, I've been sharpening knives since I was probably 8, 9, 10. One of my buddies got a deer and went to field dressing, and his knife didn't work real good. My other buddy didn't work real good. I pulled mine out and it worked really good. All of a sudden, it became cool to have a sharp knife.
Now retired, this is what he does for fun.
He's the only one I've ever seen do it.
Here in downtown Boise.
And I was doing upwards of about 500 knives in a week or so. So a couple of them.
At least 25 restaurants know him by.
$2 bill seems to be sticking. They're starting to remember that, but that's not my business name. And
Ask why?
He does cheap prices and makes sure that you're good.
$2 a blade, a price that hasn't sharpened in decades. That edge isn't just for chefs.
He sees anybody, whether it's a guy delivering beer or what, he'll go, do you have a pocket knife? You got a pocket knife, I'll sharpen it for free. Just give me your knife.
If they got to put up with the traffic and the trying to park down here, if I can do a pocket knife and they get something out of that, and you know, they're not expecting to get something, you know, or have anything nice happen sometimes. So I do that, and it's just, it makes it fun.
To some, he's the man that sharpens knives in the middle of the street. To others, a grandfather figure in flannel.
Yeah, he makes everybody feel like family, I feel like.
His impact, though, razor sharp.
Most of my customers know the day this becomes work, it's sayonara.
Well, that is interesting. In case you're curious, the actual name of his business is Stone Steel Knife Sharpening. Now, maybe you know someone like $2 Bill in Boise, but closer to home here in Portland. We'd love to hear about them. Email the story at kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail, 503-226-5090. Well, that's the end of our show, folks. Thanks so much for watching. The good stuff is coming your way next. And don't forget, everyone has a story to tell. If you ever miss an episode of The Story at 6:30, we re-air it at 8:30 and 10:30 on our TV app, KGW+. You can also catch us the next day at 11:30 a.m. Just download the free app now on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. We do not have a show tomorrow because of the 4th of July holiday, but I'll be right back here with you on Monday night at 6:30. Have a safe 4th of July and enjoy the long weekend.